played a lot against Michael on this Beseech deck, in helping test for events. Normally playing his Scam, so I've played a lot against this deck. Not as much with the Bant Nadu decks, but just in general as Force decks, you really need to have multiple layers of protection, just to make sure, because the deck does play things like Veil, and I don't know if this version plays a Vexing Bauble. You can get that pulled up, but there's things like 2 Vexing Bauble, 4 Veil of Summer, so that you can proactively play them on your combo turns, 4 Echo of Eons, and then the thing about Veil is that you can Veil and then Echo, so even if your opponent draws Force Will, they can't really do anything with it.
Right.
And so you're just going to kind of try to set up that Veil plus either Echo or Beseech before your opponent can set up this Nadu chain.
Right. And also echoing back to something we were talking about earlier, Felder Profane in Chromox decks. We got 4 Felder Profane in this deck with 4 Chromox.
Yeah, and so it's pretty relevant in this matchup.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like small creatures that you want to kill. I think it's pretty likely that Brady proactively plays the core, because it's like there's not that much risk of it dying, so I wouldn't be surprised at him play the Enabler on turn 1 off of a white, try to just set up Force backup, and then jam the Nadu on turn 3, so that you can just go off.
No, I saw a Ponder there, so looks like a Ponder Shuffle. Even.
Yeah, and if you know Michael, you know you're gonna want to find that Force of Will.
Right.
But, so it's possible that he knows what Michael's on and just trying to find.
Right. And another thing I noticed here in Michael's list that's really interesting, a single copy of Elvish Spirit Guide as a way to, possibly cast Veil when you're maybe tapped out.
Yeah, it also gets around Vexing Bauble, so it's not as awkward as things like Mox Opal or Lotus Petal, where you can, have it in play and then activate.
Speaking of Chromox and Felder Profane,
yeah,
there we go. And it looks like was a Wishclaw Talisman.
Yes.
Hard to see with the glare, but yeah, it's a Wishclaw Talisman.
So Michael likes his alternate arts and foils. So just going to take a turn to set everything up here.
And it looks like we got is that a Mox Opal?
Yes.
Yeah, Mox Opal into Thoughtseize. Yeah.
Bristly Bill, Endurance, Nadu, a couple of lands here from Brady. So Michael knows the coast is clear here.
Yeah. What do you think he did? What did he take here?
He just took the Brainstorm. Which makes a lot of sense. Just use the most new cards. Make sure you're not working with too much unknown information.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, just
I didn't see what it was because of the glare.
Yeah. Just with that Wishclaw Talisman up, you have to know that there's got to be something that Michael can do on the following turn.
Right. Bristly Bill.
Yeah,
but I mean, it feels
there's
like
one unknown card, and if it needs to be pretty much exactly Force of Will, and Michael needs to not have drawn a Veil of Summer here.
Right.
Or have access to Veil of Summer.
Or just Thoughtseize again. He drew a land.
Yeah, not exactly what we wanted to see.
No. And this Endurance doesn't look so good here.
Yeah, you would think Endurance would be great against these combo decks that are trying to use the graveyard, but
it doesn't really use the graveyard that much.
Well, you're casting a lot of Echoes, but Endurance does not really stop Echo.
No, not really.
Yeah. Looks like Michael needs 1 or 2 more mana available before he's able to start going off here. So he's just waiting to draw either something like a Lion's Eye Diamond or maybe a Dark Ritual or the Beseech so that you can fetch the missing piece with the Wishclaw. Don't need to use it yet because you just want to wait until you hit one of the pieces so you can find the missing one.
Right. And the nice thing about these decks now with Beseech the Mirror, as opposed to, obviously older Storm decks used to use things like Ad Nauseam and stuff like that, right. You can really use your life total more as a resource with these decks. You can go as low as down to 1 and still win the game.
Yeah.
So...
starting to get in with Bristly Bill, putting 2 counters on itself. Maybe if we can get up to 5 mana, we can double the number of counters, and
Right.
we can get a crazy... I've yet to see this happen in Legacy, but it would be a... I mean, Michael does have a lot of outs, but he does need to hit one of them. Oh, looks like we hit something if we're reaching for this...
Wishclaw Talisman.
Wishclaw, yeah. Oh, we are reaching for trackers, which, if you're a Brady Munroe fan, is not a good sign.
Right. Ah, mana trackers. Are those Kai's? They kind of look like it almost.
I don't know the exact tokens.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So for those who don't know, this weekend, Kai Sawatari is on site this weekend, selling playmats, altars, all sorts of cool stuff at his booth. So it was nice to finally get to meet Kai in person. He's a super cool dude.
Yeah, all the way from Germany here.
Yep.
Normally, only seen him around Europe, but coming to the U.S. here. So.
Yeah.
All sorts of moving pieces here.
Yep. there are things that are happening. That Wishclaw Talisman was cracked for a card. So Vexing Bauble. Storm Count. Okay.
Yeah.
So cracking that LED for an Echo.
Yep. And then we have the Bauble in play, so we're protected against any sort of Force of Will top decks from an opponent. We have all sorts of floating mana and storm trackers, and then eventually we'll resolve this Time Twister, I imagine.
Yeah.
Alright. So, Vexing Bubble in play is good insurance against things like Force of Will, but also this deck does play a lot of cards that cost 0.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a fine line. We'll have to see,
This Echo could just line up to, you just drew your, 5-0 drops.
Yeah, we can always sacrifice it, but then we lose out on the insurance from the Bauble. We could also just play our zeros to build Storm for Lethal Tendrils or something weird like that. Could happen.
I see a Dark Ritual, at least.
Well, that's probably a good start place. No mulligans off of these draw 7s, unfortunately.
No.
So,
Trying to see what else he had in his hand, but
yeah. We haven't made a land drop, so we can deploy a Saga, but it's also possible that Brady drew something like a Nadu combo, so we'd really like to go for it this turn, even though there's no 0-cost cards allowed.
Right. Alright, so Dark Ritual.
Storm 4, some black mana floating. See if we have a Besiege here. Know if there's... Alright, cracking the Bauble.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
He probably got some 0 drops he wants to resolve.
Imagine either has some zeros or he wants action to find this turn before.
It looks like an LED, maybe?
Looks. Yes.
Oh. Double LED?
Yeah. But now this opens up potentially.
Veil of Summer, though.
Yeah. Maybe looking to draw 7 again here. Yeah, have to force that.
Gotta force the Veil of Summer.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
Potentially clears the way for.
Entomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go Entomb for another copy of
Echo of Eons.
Echo, yeah. Just spin the wheels again. But there's no Veil or Vexing Bauble protection yet, so
Right.
we are. It's just possible that Brady has another force. We haven't really fleshed it out.
I don't see. I see a Shuko.
I don't think there's Shuko in his deck.
Oh, I did. Oh,
So
what did I see then?
definitely saw Swords Plowshares.
Yeah.
Pull the front, but
Huh.
looks like we're gonna crack for blue and black, discard our hand, and then try to redraw. Okay, one blue and the rest in black. All right.
Yeah, let's do
We
this.
go again.
Do this thing again.
Yeah. But we have a very high storm count, so we find just natural tendrils at any point is just lethal.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is fair.
So we have a lot of good draws here if you're Michael, but this thing does need to spin a lot of times in order to find the
Right.
ways it wins. Brady just praying that he hits a Force of Will or a Brainstorm to find Force of Will in the 7. No way to sculpt. Just take what you can get, hope that it's enough.
I think Michael's just trying to hope that he has a good enough hand of action to do things with.
I mean, he has 4 floating mana and 10 storms, so there's a lot of things that he can have here.
Ah, that's a good card to pull
Yeah.
right out the bat here. So, Bobble.
There's
the
any
Dark
sort
Ritual.
yeah. Any Dark Ritual. Also, even though you can Besiege for Tendrils, and even though the original copy is countered by Bobble, there will still be enough put on the stack to deal with full
interesting.
damage. Oh, or he's just cycling it. He's looking for more cards. Yeah, I imagine he really wants to kill this turn because you do not want to let this Nadu deck untap with 7 cards in hand
Right.
and 4 mana, because it's pretty likely that something bad's going to happen to you.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh no. The dream is dead. Oh no.
Well, that is something that happens sometimes with the
Yep.
deck. Missing 1 mana, missing 1 key card. And Brady's got gifted here. We'll see if what he can make out of it. Imagine you'd really like to present Nadu.
Right. Yeah. Or at least Nadu and like a Nomads would be great. Just
Nadu and Nomads is the dream.
Yeah.
But even if you don't, you still have 1 redraw with a land, 2 of it to fetch lands.
Right.
And so you can start digging. You really just want to find Force Will. It is interesting if you have Nadu and something like a Ponder with no extra land. Like, do you go for the Nadu, or do you Ponder, try to set up, look for
Right.
copies of Force of Will, something to interact? Michael does have 7 cards in hand, but
did see a
didn't
Force of
kill you
Will.
last turn.
I did see a Force of Will there. So that,
But it's hard to be too comfortable against this Besiege deck. Even with multiple copies of Force of Will in hand, you can
Yeah.
still just die.
Yeah.
They do play a lot of answers into Force of Will.
I think we're gonna see. Yep. There's Nadu.
Alright. Let's see if we have some sort of tracker to track the number of times things have been targeted. Both players playing with unique tracking devices.
Right. Oh, he does.
Yeah.
All right. So yep. What's that?
I could not quite make out what it
It
was.
was a green card of some sort.
Well, we've got a lot of those in the deck.
Could have
a
been
lot of strange ones.
Could have been Delighted Halfling maybe.
Yeah.
Could have been Sylvan Safekeeper. Actually, it's probably Sylvan Safekeeper.
Sylvan Safekeeper would be very good on this
Yeah.
board.
Yeah. They look like an old bordered card, and that's the only card I could really conceivably think that would be old bordered.
Yeah, but there's also like weird new old border cards,
That's
and I
true.
haven't kept track of which cards have been printed with old borders and which haven't.
Flipping it to Fairy.
So it also could be Carpet of Flowers.
I don't think that's main deck.
There's a one
There's
of main deck.
Carpet Flowers main
Yes.
deck. Oh my gosh. That is
Yeah.
wild. Yeah, that was probably it, actually. Man, that's
not
crazy.
not a ton of text in this matchup.
No. Definitely not at all.
thinking about. Nope, just then.
Oh, just getting in with Bristly Bill, who's now like what, a 6'6" or something like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so. Yeah. All right, so Michael needs to kill on this turn. You know, Brady is working with at least one force will. Here's a Veil somewhere that you need to force. Oh, looks like he just lets it go.
Interesting.
All right. Oh. All right.
Okay. Very interesting. What?
Yeah.
I don't think he had it. Just
Yeah.
at all. No.
I mean, just looking to get it forced so we can Veil again, get a redraw in, see if we can, what we can do with it. Alright, let's see what we have for sideboards here. Starting with Michael.
So let's see, Carpet Flowers, Abrupt Decay, Seiju, Detection Tower. Until on your turn, your opponents and creatures your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells and abilities as though you control as though they don't have hexproof. Interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea what that's for. Right? Not for this matchup.
Right.
Safekeeper.
Interesting card though.
Safekeeper give a Shroud, not hexproof.
Right.
Maybe I'll ask him about that afterwards.
I see Nature's Claim, Thoughtseize, Empty the Warrens.
Yeah, I think I like the Thoughtseize. I like the Dismember. Not a fan of too much else. Don't really want to dilute the deck. You can play Abrupt Decay is pretty reasonable because it gets rid of the all of the combat elements, but you really don't want to dilute this deck too much. I think your plan A is pretty good. You can trim on things like Entomb, which are a little bit soft to Graveyard Hate. That's liable to come in, but I imagine not too many changes for Michael. Let's take a look at Brady. What Brady's working with here.
Let's see here. I see Carpet of Flowers, Collector of Consigned to Memory, Endurance, Force of Negation. It looks like that's pretty Force of Vigor.
Yep.
Yeah, Ground Seal, Hydroblast, Path to Exile, Prismatic Ending, Veil Summary, Uro. Consigned to Memory seems reasonable.
Consign is okay. It's not great. It can maybe sometimes counter the Storm thing. It doesn't do a ton.
You're probably definitely boarding out some number of this Carpet of Flowers for sure.
Well, Carpet of Flowers is definitely coming out.
And probably some number of these Source of Plowshares.
Source of Plowshares is almost completely dead. Teferi notably is actually quite good against Beseech the Mirror because it prevents them from casting the spell off the Beseech, which is very nice. Also bounces things like Urza's Saga on the other side, which can be hard to answer otherwise. I would definitely look to bring in Collector Roof to shut down the bevy of artifact mana that Michael's working with.
Yeah.
And obviously this fifth force, the Force of Negation, will be coming in. Again, Carpet of Flowers, maybe something like Uro, just a little bit slow. Keen-Eye Curator, not exactly fast enough in this matchup, I'd imagine. So some number of those cards, including the Source Plowshares, will be coming out.
I've seen Keen-Eye Curator in these lists. That's interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems like solid anti-scam. Hey, you just need something you can reasonably cord for that, or like a Scavenging Ooze type thing.
I lost a lot to that card in playing Bloomburrow's Seal to get ready for the Creator Showdown.
Yeah,
that card's really good in Limited.
The card seems... It's a 3/3, and for 1 mana, it exiles a card from a graveyard, and as soon as you exile 4 more card types, it becomes a 7/7 Trampler.
Yeah.
Which on a 2 mana 2/2 or
2 mana 3/3.
2 mana 3/3.
Yeah.
Is a lot larger than you're normally able to handle it.
There are so many creatures in that set that have just like really weird stats for their like mana cost that are just like, oh yeah, wow, that I just lose to this.
It is definitely a very aggressively statted set with very aggressive and cheap creatures.
When I was playing in the Creator Showdown, I played against 2 decks that played the 5 mana 4/6 Turtle.
Yeah.
And that card just demolished me every time it came down.
Yeah. Keen-Eye Curator, also a card that's in the current cube, the Magic Online cube list.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming it's pretty good there. Yeah.
Alright, well, we have the turn 1 Vexing Bauble, which means Storm Counter coming out, which Brady does not look happy to see.
Yeah, turn 1 Saga into Vexing Bauble, and then, let's say, what, 2 LEDs? Something like an LED and
I think it's a LED and a Mox Opal, but
Yeah.
I could be mistaken.
the glare plus the,
Yeah.
the,
They're all altered, too. Michael loves his
yeah. You gotta force...
Lotus Petal.
The Lotus Petal, yeah. You gotta force the...
Yeah.
And it's all that force negation we were just talking about.
Alright. We do this again. Maybe this time it's good enough. We have a lot of mana floating. We have an Urza Saga in play for next turn. And in the exact same position as we were in game 1.
Okay. Yeah.
Except this time it's an Urza Saga as opposed... And it's happening on turn 1, which is much better than... It
Right.
was much
Yeah.
better situation than the last game, but... As we saw, this deck doesn't always get there. It does certainly have a fail rate.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if this 7 for Michael is able to produce a more potent threat than last time, or if Brady's able to produce another force, kind of stem the bleeding here, see if he can draw answers to these Saga tokens that might become issues at some point here.
Right.
Well, there are no permanent-based mana here for Michael, at least.
No, it's all temporary.
But also, like, there's an issue. Sometimes you wheel your opponent and then they don't draw any lands.
Yeah.
And then they just don't function. So, it's a lot. Alright, we'll see how good this hand is.
There's a force and there's a collector Oof.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any blue cards. So, other
Right.
than that forest. So, yeah. Just
Take the collector Oof.
take
Yeah.
the collector roof.
No, that seems accurate because if Michael has to pass here,
Yeah.
collector Oof being in hand is the worst thing for him.
Yeah. I imagine he's going to be doing some more casting of spells here. His deck plays a lot of... Alright, we entomb and we go again. That's what Michael said. Brady not thrilled about this, as you can see.
I think this is just one of those, like, okay, well, we gotta play this game again.
Alright, well, it looks like... Oh. Michael is just passing here. After entombing. Not enough mana or cards to do it again. Just...
That's rough.
I will put this Echo in the graveyard. And... Like, I know you don't have anything too great. You have a Force of Negation, but you need to draw a blue card. Yeah. And Brady's just going to put 2 mana into play, which makes a lot of sense given the structure of his hand.
Yeah.
It's also good if, if he gets echoed again this turn, just have mana in play so that the line of get echoed into and no more land here from Michael.
That's rough. Yeah. That's like the worst thing to have happen is to have a Saga and have no other land to back it up.
Yeah, I mean, we can tutor for a Lion's Eye Diamond here, but that's kind of soft. We know he has Force of Negation available. Oh, and it looks like an upkeep Force of Vigor here.
Woof.
Targeting the only land, and with hard cast Force of Negation available.
Yep. Ooh,
So,
that is rough.
yeah, I think we might be seeing Michael do kind of everything he wanted and just have it not quite be enough. But this does still have a lot of cards, but Brady also has a lot of cards and a Force of Negation.
Yeah. You're just like, alright, yeah, LED.
Well, there's the Veil.
Off of that Elvish Spirit Guide.
Yeah?
No less. Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we hard cast that.
Well,
And
yeah. Well, hard cast negation, and then we get to spin again. Alright, well. This is
This is a game.
How many draw sevens have been cast this match? This is going to be number 4.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
And somehow this Storm deck still has not managed to put together a kill.
Right. It's rough.
Yeah. Come on. Eventually we're going to have to hit a hand that kills here, right?
Right? Yeah. I've played my fair share of Echo of Eon's decks. It is definitely something that you run into where you go, oh, hey, look, I just drew nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. But then you get those games where like you get everything lines up.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like the best feeling in the world for the Echo player.
It was close to happening in this game, right? Where we had the turn 1 Echo with a ton of floating mana and the turn 1 Saga, and then we drew nothing.
Mm-hmm. It happens. Yep, it's the unfortunate aspect of playing a deck that wants to play Time Twister in a sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't convert.
Well, I definitely see the 1 Force of Negation for the 3rd time in Brady's hand. So,
this Force of Negation has seen some things. It's gone the distance. Putting a Fell the Profane into play on the back half, paying 3 life.
Yeah. Alright, well, this hand, I mean, for casting Dark Ritual, it has to be a good sign for Michael here. I would have to match.
Chrome Mox.
Yeah.
Maybe he just drew like natural tendrils. That could have been what it had.
Oh, it looks like it
no,
was
that was
Mox
Mox
Opal.
Opal. Yeah, those Mox Opals, yeah. Beseech. Force Negation. Beseech.
Oof. And it looks like just a passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is rough.
I mean,
that's a really tough spot.
Just missing
to
the
rebuild
protection
from.
and kind of have to go for it.
Yeah, that's a really tough spot to rebuild from.
Yeah.
And now this Collective is just gonna take
that would be my suspicion as well here.
He Grease Hunt for 2, it's Collective.
Yeah. Just really reduce the
amount of available mana he has.
Right. And down to 1 card, it's going to be really hard to fight out of this from Michael, unfortunately. Also, Surveillance and Legacy have really been impressing me, especially in the current format. Scam is a deck that often finds itself with extra lands because of Troll or something like that, and just having a fetch land be card selection as well is so incredibly important in this format.
And it's interesting too because they're not just good in obviously these blue decks, but we obviously see them in a lot of other decks too. And even the ones that are off color of blue, like the Lush Portico, is still just as good because it's still card selection. So they're pretty amazing. I have played it with a number of decks where I've run into using them myself, and I played Jund. And I played a couple in Jund, and they were fantastic there.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw David Lance using them in the prior round to great success, set up his draws. Ooh, looks like we're getting Bristly Bill going. Get some damage started.
Who
needs Nadu? Let's just Bristly Bill, get some damage pumping.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the aspect of, I have a threat that I can protect.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about... Yep, there's the handshake. Yep. Wow.